Hello, I'm Rhonda Bender, the bird with a brush. Today I'd like to show you the contents of the ReaperCon 2023 Barrowgate box. Most of the miniatures that I'll be showing you today will become available for individual sale over time. So even if you're watching this at a later date, you will be able to get most of the miniatures that I show, and I will try to be very clear about which products are only available in the box or only available for a limited time, and which products are more likely to be on ongoing sale. So before I dive into opening the box, I just want to give you some background information so that you know what you're listening to. I received this as a contributor's copy. I helped develop some of the products in here, which I'm going to talk more about as I unbox them. So I did not purchase it with my own money. I purchased it with my own sweat, I guess. Also, I do paint studio miniatures for Reaper Miniatures and also Darksword, who I will be mentioning in connection with another product that I'm going to show you. So I think that's what you need to know to decide what you think of my point of view, and I'm going to dive into the box. The miniatures and paint are packaged in these smaller boxes within the larger box I showed you previously. I'll unpack those in a minute, but let's start with the non-miniature products. This item they call the Reaper Keeper. It's a carrying case. You can purchase this currently on the website if you just want the case. It's got the logo. It's got a larger pocket that fits the, if you've got any of the pistol cases that several of the Reaper products come in, those fit in there. I think two fit in there. And then there's a smaller compartment at the top. This is Velcro, so if you have anything like this, any of these kinds of badges that attach with Velcro, or anything else that attaches with Velcro, you can decorate your Reaper Keeper. Oh, and this comes in a plastic bag. In the Barrowgate box, I had already unpacked mine. It's got a hand strap and then also a shoulder strap. The Barrowgate box also includes several stickers. These dice are called Sophie's Lucky Dice, so it's like she's gone through her various sets of dice and picked out the ones that are the luckiest from each of the sets. They're lucky now. If I open this and touch them, they will not be lucky. But if you just want the dice, I think those are for sale already on Reaper's website. This is one of the items that I was somewhat involved with. It's a source guide to the haunted city of Barrowgate. There are places, shops, NPCs, adventure hooks, and it's all system agnostic, so you can drop it in whatever fantasy game you like to play. There's a map of the area, but don't worry about the map being divided up in the book like that, because the box also has a full-size poster map, which I cannot fit under my camera, so I'll just kind of give you a peek. Reaper has been putting these books out each year with the past few conventions. Joseph Wolf is a very creative guy who comes up with the vast majority of this material. There are some minor contributions from other people. There's some great art from a variety of artists. Maps, I think Gene Van Horn does the maps. And I help out a little just with copy editing, so I don't really do anything major or important, but it does give me a chance to get a preview before everybody else gets to see it, which is always fun. And then I know more thematically what's going on with the convention, because usually I'm so busy when I'm there that I don't get to stop and soak in all the flavor. The last two non-miniature products are for prepping your miniatures and getting them ready to go. So this is a set of tweezers with a very fine tip that you can use to take the supports off of 3D miniatures, like the ones Reaper is selling now. I'll probably take these out of the package and show you how to use them at the end of the video. And then this is a very fine file that you can use to remove some of the other small artifacts from 3D printed miniatures. I forgot that there was one other non-miniature item in here because it's included in these boxes, and that is the ReaperCon 2023 commemorative Pokey tool, which in this case is a little baby dragon. I have one that I've unboxed, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. So these are used to, you poke it into a dropper bottle where the paint's a little stuck and it gets your paint flowing again. So now let's take a look at some of the miniatures. Some of mine are facing the wrong direction in the blister pack. I think I'll probably open them up and give you a closer look at the end of the video. So this is a set of 4 drinking dwarves in various poses of drinking and toasting and whatnot, sculpted by Bobby Jackson. These gambling dwarves, which are a set of 3, are also sculpted by Bobby Jackson. You can't quite see it, but this one's about to throw the dice. This bouncer and patron scene was sculpted by Bob Rodolfi. This figure is a drunken orc who's lying down on the ground. Would also probably work well if you need a victim type figure for a diorama. And this is sculpted by Julie Guthrie. This is a puppeteer with his little puppet theater. So that we're seeing a part of the miniature that would be glued to the other part of the miniature. And there's a fun little Easter egg in this that you can't quite see, but I'll show that when I unpack them. And this is by Jason Wiebe. This figure is a Riverboat pilot that was sculpted by Gene Van Horn. And again, he is unfortunately seen from the back, so I'll have to unpack this one. He's got a little monkey on his shoulder who is also drinking. This is a Flirty Wench by Julie Guthrie, and she's seated on a barrel. So if you've ever needed seated figures for a diorama or scene, this one might make a great option. So this scene, called the Brawl, is, I think there's 4 different halflings, or hobbits, or whichever way you want to call them, fighting with an orc, or a half-orc. And this is sculpted by Bobby Jackson. The con featured several prominent NPC personalities. We followed their adventures over the 4 days of the convention. This is one of them, Hollis Grey Heath, the halfling druid, and his pack rabbit companion, pack hare, I think he's pack hare actually, companion Verbena. And this is by Bobby Jackson. All of the miniatures I've shown you already are things that should come out into general release at some point in the future. This miniature was a special edition that is only available in the Barrowgate box. So this is the ReaperCon Ed Pugh tribute miniature. And this type of character is called an Arachno-Assassin. It's got 6 arms in total. I think they should slot in pretty easily. And this is sculpted by Jason Wiebe. So Ed and Dave Pugh were the founders, they're brothers, they were the founders of Reaper Miniatures. And unfortunately, Ed Pugh passed away last year. Back in the early days, they did everything. They cast miniatures, packed boxes, and so on. And Ed even sculpted. And some of his sculpts are still available on the Reaper website. If you search for Ed Pugh, I think you should be able to find a list of them. And he sculpted a number of these Arachno-Assassins that were like bone constructs with multiple arms. He also sculpted, I believe, the skeleton miniature that is in the Core Skills Learn to Paint kit. And some other skeletons. So the first 2 of these brown boxes had miniatures in them and the Pokey tool. So what's in this 3rd one? And the answer is paint. And this is the project I was involved in. So these are a special edition for the Barrowgate box. I believe that if there are extras after, Reaper will put those on sale probably as the box set on the website. I don't know for sure that there are extras, but typically this is what has happened in the past. So I've been involved in helping Reaper pick colors for conventions and other special events, and kind of trying to fill holes in the main line for a while now. I have almost all of the colors. I think there's 2 special edition paints for a long ago convention. I think it was PaizoCon, the first PaizoCon or something like that, that I don't have, but I'm kind of the chronicler of the paint. So I went through and looked at a lot of colors and tried to come up with some colors that I thought would be useful. And these are those colors. I'm going to try to swatch these out so that you can see what they look like. Paints always look a little different in the bottle. I mean, they're going to look a little different on video too, but I'll give it a shot and you can see what you think. A lot of these are not like super bright, vivid colors because honestly, I find those very useful and they fit well with the theme, the Barrowgate theme of the Haunted City. So most of these names are related to the characters and places and so on in the book that I showed you earlier. So that's 4 of the colors. Look at a few more. I haven't hardly had a chance to play with these myself. We found kind of a mutual reference, color reference, to be able to do this at a distance. Talk about what colors we needed. So I'm looking forward to this one for like bricks and red roof tiles and stuff like that. So I did paint out samples of the colors and I wanted to give you a quick look at that. As you look at each square, the upper area is what the paint looks like straight out of the bottle. Then I add a little water to thin it down so you can get an idea of what it would look like used as a glaze or a wash. I'll also pop a photograph up on the screen for a few minutes. It's mostly color corrected. I would say that neither of the 2 yellows in the photograph look as saturated as they do in real life. So that's everything that's in the Barrowgate box, but I wanted to show you a few other figures that are available or I imagine will become available. So this one you can currently purchase on the website. It's a very good likeness of Ed Pugh. If you ever met him, you can probably tell even on the camera here that this is a good likeness, depicted as a necromancer. So the origin of this miniature is that Jim Ludwig over at Dark Sword Miniatures asked Tom Meyer to sculpt it. And as the project progressed, he felt that it would be most suitable for the miniature to be produced in Texas by Reaper. So he donated the master green to Reaper, and they have cast this in metal. So these are currently available. I assume that they will stay in production. Well, I say they because there's a little skeleton that he's summoning. So I assume this will stay in production. I don't know for sure. I imagine that they would want to keep this available and probably in metal as a tribute to the prior history of Reaper and Ed. This is Kreed Bloodbeard, a barbarian from the Dungeon Dwellers line. This is not currently available on the website, but I would imagine that it will become available. I don't know for sure. Currently, this was produced as a 3D print that Reaper makes at their facility. I don't know if they'd convert this to Bones USA. This looks like something that is a lot easier to do as a print just based on the positioning of the arms and stuff. The convention usually includes a special edition mousling. I see that last year's is available for sale on the website now, so I would assume that this is going to become available at some point. It's in Bones USA. There's like a little guard mousling, and then this is a rat wraith, who is genuinely quite scary. I was impressed at how scary Gene Van Horn sculpted this to be. Along with producing a mousling every year at the convention, Reaper also does a special edition Sophie, and last year's is available, so I would guess that this year's is going to be available on the website at some point in the future in Bones USA. Sophie is Reaper's mascot. She's a succubus who enjoys playing dress up, so she's got some wings in the back there. I believe this year she's a druid. There's a little bird there, and she also has an otter companion, oddly. The ReaperCon 2023 swag bag also included a pack of 3 metallic colors that were themed to the Barrowgate setting, and the remaining stock of these is currently up for sale on the ReaperMini.com website. So I also painted out what those look like, and this is more useful on film because you can move it around and kind of see how the metallics would look in different lighting conditions. Metallics are notoriously hard to take photographs of. So you can see that there's a black and blue component to the Rainfeather. And then the Ghost Vein is red-purple, and the Tomb Treasure would be a good highlight color if you want to do kind of a blue steel. You start with like a regular gray steel, and then you can use that as a highlight. There was one more miniature that I wanted to show you, and this is not connected to ReaperCon in any way. This is Mako the Tiki Shark. This was sculpted by Jason Wiebe and donated to Reaper for fundraising efforts for victims of the Maui wildfires. I've already taken mine out of the package because I want to work on him on my stream on the Reaper channel, which is Monday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and then they collect them on their YouTube channel if you want to watch the previous one. So here is Sir 4 scale for size comparison. Now that I'm thinking about it, Mako, who is also a 3D print, is a good test for these tweezers, which I normally kind of just flick the supports off. I mean, these are very, they just come right off. But apparently this is what the people who work on the masters and stuff at Reaper do, and they're very clever people, so I think it will work better than my method. They're very needle nose pliers, which are, I've also found this type of pliers useful for making bases if you have to place leaves, or I've put together bouquets of flowers where I've had to, carefully put in little dry flowers and stuff. And yeah, these are taking off the little support straps really well. So if you have your own 3D printer and make miniatures, you may also find this handy. I almost forgot that I had one other to share. This is Ryelle Rainfeather, the Elven Bard, and she's the Mini of the Month for September 2023 on the ReaperMini.com website. I imagine that she'll continue to be available. The Mini of the Month is something you get as a gift with purchase, or you can just buy her outright. This is also a 3D print by Bobby Jackson, so it's got those same little support struts. She's super cute. I think I would, this is right up my painting alley. So I grabbed one of these, and she's already out of the blister. So this is Sophie with 4 scale for scale. You can see that there's a lot of really nice detail on this figure. This is her little friend, Ollie. The otter. Her wings attach both to the back and the hood, so that should be a nice secure attachment point. Kreed, who is also a 3D print. There he is with her 4 scale, so he's a big beefy fellow. And these support struts remove easily with the tweezers, as I showed you earlier, or just scraping off with a knife. There are the mouselings with 4 scale for scale. The guard mousling. And then the creepy rat wraith. I'm excited to paint these. I enjoy mouselings a lot, and this is a great little pair. This is the Ed Pugh tribute miniature. So I think you can see even on the camera that that's a really great likeness of Ed. Tom Meyer said he had a unique bone structure, so it was feasible to capture his likeness very well, even in tiny form. And this piece also comes with that. This is available right now on the Reaper website. So those were the figures that aren't part of the Barrowgate box, and now we're going to look at the Barrowgate figures. This is the Brawl with the 4 different halflings. The pose is just so dynamic and fun on this. And just the fact that printing allows this to be a one-piece miniature and I don't have to labor over assembling it makes my glue challenge little heart very happy. Then we have the flirty patron at the tavern. Lovely hair, as Julie always does, with a little hair ribbon. The rowdy patron and bouncer. Also lovely hair, which Bob usually does too. This is the Riverboat captain that we could only see from the back, taking a big chug, and so is his little monkey friend. They're very fun. This is the passed out drunk orc. Although again, I think you could swap this out if you cut it there and swap it out for a sword blade. And you need someone who's perished in a tragic way for a diorama. But this would be a great figure for that. So it's flat on the bottom, so it'll lie flat on the base. Oh, I didn't show the scale with some of these. So that's Lister 4 scale. And that's the Riverboat pilot, Lister 4 scale. And the bouncer and patron. And the seated lady, who of course is going to look shorter because she's seated. So then we have the gambling dwarves. So there are some coins on the base there. He's got a ponytail. This one is about to throw the dice. He's leaning on the ground. He also has some coins. And then this one is eagerly awaiting the fall of the dice. Or maybe keeping an eye on his friend to make sure that the rolling is legitimate. Then there's the other pack of dwarves, had 4. Just compare them with 4 scale. So these are drinking dwarves, I believe. So this is just a little sprue. You don't even have to cut it off, you can kind of twist it off, but it cuts off very well as well. He's quite a magnificent beard. This fellow's clearly had a few already. Oh, that's a nice little detail on the hood. I couldn't see all these details. He's got a key. I couldn't see all these details either because they were facing in a non-optimal direction in my package. So he's toasting a friend. He's got some traction on his boots. That's a nice little detail. There's a sigil or a mark of some kind on the mug, which is also a nice little detail. And this one is bringing some more ale for everyone. It's got a tap, a nice wood texture there. This is just that spruce stuff again. And he's still working, so he's a little more serious. And lastly, we have the puppeteer. So this is a very interesting setup for a miniature. So this connection point goes into that connection point to set up the figure. So from the front, it's a dragon and another puppet inside the tent. And then from the back, you still get a pretty good look at his face. And he's getting a little distracted by this pug, which Jason Wiebe, who sculpted this, has had a number of very eccentric pugs over the years and has 2 very fun ones right now. So this may be something he's familiar with from life. I'm not sure. But so you'd be able to paint up this part and then assemble them because it fits together really well. This is the Pokey tool, which is a little curled up dragon, and it's kind of 3D. So the dragon's leg and back continue on the back, and it also says ReaperCon 2023, so that we know where we got. So, and that you stick it into a dropper bottle to unclog them. So I hope you enjoyed that look at some of the ReaperCon miniatures and figures that will be upcoming in release. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks for watching.